Do you know what the one major factor that hinders a person's success? What is it that makes someone melt in embarrassment or boil in anger? Hello, my name is David Lowshelter, and I'm really excited to share with you a mental strategy today that will definitely answer these questions, and if used properly, will improve your performance on and off the field. In the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you a mental process that all champions possess. And once you learn this process, you will find yourself learning more, performing at a higher level, and hopefully winning the championship that you're striving for. So let's go back to my initial question I opened with in this segment. What is the one major factor that hinders a person's success? Well, from my experience, it has been their ability to accept criticism. We all have been criticized at one time or another, justly and unjustly, but criticized just the same. I think we all have been taken back by a critical comment more than once in our lives, but that's being human. Being offended and hurt by a critical statement is quite normal. It is a natural defense mechanism. Since we all want to be accepted by others, and most of all liked, criticism can feel like a dagger that stabs us in the heart. This bruises our ego to the point that we feel we need to defend ourselves. Has this ever happened to you, where you were criticized by your parents, your coach, or your supervisor, and found yourself spurting out quick retorts, excuses, and stories as to why your performance was not up to par? This is the ego defending itself, keeping your self-esteem and self-worth and pride intact. Ego and pride, the two great parts of your psyche constantly shielding your ability to accept critical statements. The problem is, when your pride stands in the way, defenses rise, and learning stops. When learning stops, you stop. You just stop developing the necessary skills for success. We all have something to learn. But if we are always defending ourselves, deflecting what comes our way, we will never learn, improve, and advance, and that goes for all aspects of our life, in sport, education, and in business. Losing these valuable opportunities stymies growth and maturity. But what is criticism, and are there different kinds? I like the definition I found regarding this subject. The definition says, criticism or advice that is useful and intended to help or improve something, often with an offer of possible solutions. Alright, let's break this down. First, it states criticism or advice that is useful, which means to me, when you are criticized, you are being given advice. Criticism disguised as advice. Now that's something you don't hear every day, but it's true. This will be an important aspect to this talk a little later. Alright, let's get to the second part of this definition. Second, it says intended to help or improve something, often with an offer of possible solutions. Okay, the notion of helping or improving something. Usually we don't associate criticism with helping or improving, but it will help. If you listen closely as to what's being said and not taking it so personally that you find yourself shutting down and dismissing the message. And last, the definition goes on to say, often with an offer of possible solutions. When you are criticized, solutions are the last thing you hear. Well, I can tell you, when a coach starts to point out things, he or she definitely is giving you solutions. They could be very difficult to recognize if exclaimed with vigor. Milan Kundera once said, without the meditative background that is criticism, works become isolated gestures, a historical accidents, soon forgotten. As you can see, critics are really disguised as helpers and solution makers. So my question to you is, what kind of person takes criticism and lets it destroy them? And what kind of person takes criticism and uses it to improve them? Well, I've learned there are two kinds of criticism, constructive and non-constructive. But the only difference between constructive criticism and non-constructive criticism is how you interpret the information that is being said to you. How it is being said is not as important as what is being said. Notice I said what is being said is more important than how it is being said. This is the key point of this lesson. See, criticism is only information. With the two types of criticism comes two types of people. With non-constructive criticism comes the loser. This is the guy who gets his feelings hurt and runs away when he hears something negative about himself. Losers interpret criticism as a personal attack. They feel hurt, they become demoralized, they feel deflated, They feel defeated and ultimately shut down and quit. As a result, losers never grow. They never expand, and they never reach their full potential. They don't have the courage to hear what they did wrong, thus always walking away with their heads down, their tail between their legs. That's the loser. Winners, on the other hand, interpret criticism as constructive feedback. They feel appreciated, helped, and validated. With constructive criticism comes the winner, the champion. This is the guy who takes it all in, soaks up everything that is being said to him, and makes lemonade out of lemons. He learns from it, ultimately becoming a champion. Winners feel the information serves them. It motivates them to do better next time. Winners look at criticism as helpful and useful. Winners love the feedback. Winners interpret criticism not only as feedback, but are psyched that the coach is paying attention to how they are performing. This makes them work harder and longer. Winners look at criticism as something they can add to their toolbox for future success. See the winner, successful because he's always learning more, expanding skills, and improving. This is the winner, the one who looks at the glass as half full, not half empty. So when criticism comes your way, are you a loser or are you a winner? I think it's obvious. We all want to be winners. So how do we accept criticism even though at times it is difficult to hear? Well, let me share with you a 3-step process that will assist you in taking in that criticism and having it serve you, not destroy you. Step 1. The first thing you want to do is to recognize and note how you initially feel when that critical statement smacks you in the face. Note the shock of embarrassment and hurt, but don't dismiss it. And in step 2, embrace that feeling. Let it run its course. We all get embarrassed and uneasy when someone seemingly verbally attacks us. Remember, it's a natural part of our being, but give yourself some time to let the emotion pass. This won't take long because once you practice asking a few questions, you will be conditioned to move quickly to the next step. See, step 3, now you start to think to yourself and ask yourself the question, how does this statement serve me? What does it mean? What is really being transmitted here? Is this statement meant to help me in some way? Is it to motivate me? Once you assimilate a few possible answers to your question, ask yourself, how can I use this information to make me better? Take a few moments and think about the content of the comment and think about how you would use this information. For example, did you ever have someone say something to you that really got under your skin and you stormed away in anger? But a day later, after thinking about it, say to them, I really thought about what you said, and you're right. You made a good point, and I really should have done it that way. So let's review. Okay, step 1, acknowledge your feelings. Step 2, ask several questions to extract the useful content of what was said to you. And finally, step 3, find ways to use this information to make you better. So by objectively accepting, assimilating, processing, and then using the feedback, you'll be on your way to a successful career. These are the key steps that will help you use this information and feedback presented. This is Dave Lowshelter. Listen in next time when I discuss the powers of mental imagery and self-talk. Thank you for listening, and keep striving for more.